The most dangerous team in the Western Conference right now is the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. We haven't even seen Kyrie Irving full strength. They're load managing him, which is illegal now apparently, but they're load managing him for the playoff run. Your Los Angeles Clippers want no parts of them. That Daniel Gafford pickup is crazy. The PJ Washington pickup is really good. The smile and the smirk and the laughter that Luka Doncic is playing with right now, that first game, I know it's one game, is crazy. They know what they have over there. You talk about a well-oiled machine. The Nuggets lost Bruce Brown and never replaced them. So now that machine is kind of clunky. The Mavericks added Gafford, and now it's like Derek Lively ain't playing. Okay, Gafford fill in. Oh, Derek Lively's playing. You sub him out. Now it's Gafford in there. They look great. They're going to look amazing. They could beat your favorite team because the Clippers' flaw is rebounding. The team they're going to have a problem with is Minnesota. But again, I think the experience, and if Ant-Man doesn't show up in crunch time, they're done. Because Luka and Kyrie, we're forgetting. We talk a lot about Kyrie, but come on, man. One of the most epic playoff championship performances ever. That's the guy you're going to have to go up against for 7 games, Mr. Clipper. And you ain't got nobody to defend him. And on top of that, he got somebody to throw the alley-oop with. On top of that, he got Luka Doncic. I hate comparing him to LeBron, but that means Kyrie gets more one-on-ones in the playoffs. And my guy, as you guys dubbed him, Tim Hardaway Jr., I don't know why you guys dubbed him as my guy. He gets to score 30 or 40 points out of nowhere sometimes. He might have one of those for the whole playoffs. But the whole point is, I don't got the Nuggets as the most dangerous team out west. The most dangerous team in the Wild Wild West. Listen, man, that's Luka, the Dawn, Kyrie Irving and them boys. Mark Cuban, I got to salute you. Yes, I was dead wrong about them, Flea. Dead wrong about them. I had them in the bottom of the conference before the season started, and went from that in my mind to the most dangerous team in the Western Conference by far. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the NBA Finals.
They're hot right now. They just picked up Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, and you would think listening to Fabian though that they just picked up Hakeem and freaking like Pau Gasol, but they added some depth. Now they have 2 good centers and lob threats for Luka with Derek Lively, who's been one of my favorite rookies to watch this season. Baby Tyson Chandler, they keep kind of referring to him as. Luka's having another great season, had a 73-point game this season. And Kyrie Irving has been injured a good amount this season. Of course, that one where Dwight Powell fell on him. They tried with Grant Williams this year. That didn't really work out. Apparently, he became a malcontent, traded him. But Tim Hardaway, 17.5 points a game this year. He's not very efficient, but he's a streaky. We know who Tim Hardaway is at this point. Kyrie Irving has missed 22 games, but he's averaging 25, 5, and 5 on 48% from the field, 41% from 3, and 88% from the line. So he's been spectacular when he's played.
Sounds like Kyrie.
Luka, 34 points a game, 9 rebounds. If you round up 10 assists, 9.6 on 49, 38, 77.5 shooting splits. Luka's playing at an MVP caliber level. The Mavericks are having a much better season than last year. This is his 2nd straight year averaging 30+.
Leading the league in scoring, Don? Leading the league in scoring.
Embiid, I believe.
Embiid. Okay.
Thoughts on Dallas?
I think Dallas is going to be dangerous. Have reservations still about Jason Kidd and who he is as a head coach for that particular team. He empowers Luka a lot, and I think as you should. Luka's your best player. But you start to hear the rumblings around. You start to see different things. Washington had a trade in place for Kyle Kuzma to go to Dallas. Of all people, Kyle Kuzma declined the trade. He didn't want to go and play for them. I'm sure you guys saw what Spencer Dinwiddie had to say about going back to Dallas as opposed to, becoming a Laker. We saw some of the things that Kristaps Porzingis had to say departing from Dallas. So all I'm saying is that Jason Kidd has propped up Luka up here. He's on the same level as MJ, Kobe, LeBron. This is what Jason Kidd has said. And yes, Jason Kidd has played against all 3 of those guys that I just named. But to put Luka in a spot where he is your best player, but there's this notion that you guys got to be better around me, as opposed to Luka is going to make guys around him better. And I don't think that Jason Kidd has got to that piece in Luka's development in terms of he one of the best passers in the league, gets guys involved, does all of that. But making guys better is not assisting. And Fabian just jumped on, and I'm glad he jumped back on, because he said something about Chris Paul and a couple other guys assist hunting. There's a difference between assist hunting and actually getting guys involved and getting them better. I do believe that Luka Doncic is a great passer, but I think that assist hunting does fall on him a little bit, and he does have a responsibility to get guys around him better. We need to debunk this myth that Dallas hasn't put any talent around Luka. They've done a hell of a job trying to put as much talent as they can around Luka. Just certain things.
Last year was ass, though. Last year was bad. Last year was a mistake.
100%. But last year, you're trying to make up for the fact that you fucked up and didn't sign Jalen Brunson. So now you're trying to make up for the fact that you let him walk, and now we need to get back to the Western Conference Finals. They were in the Western Conference Finals. They could have been in the finals playing against Boston, right? Like that's just the facts. So Dallas is gonna be good, but I think everything hinges on how much Kyrie Irving is effective in the playoffs, and we know he's great on big stages, and who Jason Kidd is as a coach when he's coaching Luka Doncic. I think that's big. We know what Luka's gonna do. You mentioned their additions, so I'm not gonna mention those two guys, but I think those are great depth guys. I'm very high, like you are, on Derek Lively. I've been super high on that kid for a long time. Fabian's just joining the party. He likes Derek Lively now, and so dangerous team. You don't want to see them in the playoffs. If the playoffs started right now, you said that they're the 6th seed or 7th seed?
7.
So let's just say that they are the 7th seed. They would play number 2, which is
they would actually play against in a 1-game playoff versus the Kings.
I just said let's assume that they did
okay.
7th seed.
They'd be playing against the Thunder, and I'm not gonna lie, I think Dallas might be favored by having Luka and Kyrie Irving.
And I'd be glued to that series.
That would be excellent television.
Come on, Dom. Like, I would be glued to
Luka versus SGA. Oof.
Come on. And in the first round?
Right. And you know what's crazy? I think both fan bases would be disappointed if they lose. Like, they expect to win, both of them.
It's true.
Because there's no way that Dallas. Go ahead.
Can you jump into your thoughts on Dallas?
Yeah.
You're going to walk back? Anything you got to say about that?
Well, first of all, how do I sound?
You sound good enough.
No, I don't like you. I don't like good enough. How dare you? You just said it. They might play the Kings in the play-in. That's a rematch from last. No, they didn't make the playoffs last year. Playing at all. I just think that I'm all a fan of having a well-oiled machine and just being able to. You leave Lively, he gets to sit, and Gafford gets in there, and it's a non-stop threat in the middle. And I think who in the West has that besides Minnesota? And if they're number 1, don't play into the final round in the conference, because the Joker is that, but he's not a rebounding. Well, he's a rebounding machine, but he doesn't play defense like Gobert. So I just think Dallas is so like that Luka Kyrie thing. Luka made the conference finals. We're forgetting that too, and they're better than what. Is this a better team than that conference finals team?
I think it is.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Brunson. I think Brunson is better than Kyrie. Has to do with a lot with availability, but I don't. What's the difference between that Western Conference and this one? When they went to the conference finals.
Oh my God! I'll tell you. Let's start from the top. I mean, the Clippers had Kawhi Leonard out. Kawhi Leonard makes us completely different, right? Lakers had the Westbrook year, so they're just worse than they are now. Denver didn't have Jamal Murray, so that's major. And then Minnesota was just 2 years younger. OKC just 2 years younger. Now they've ascended. Sacramento didn't have Sabonis yet, so they hadn't really taken off. Or actually, they had just gotten him, right? So I'd say those are the differences. And the Warriors are worse now.
Yes. They're not the same team. They're not as
Utah's been broken up.
They're not as talented.
Phoenix is still in the mix.
Yeah, they'll be around.
And New Orleans was still in the mix. So, and they've only gone, matured. So, with Dallas, their question mark for me was two things before the season: defense and are their role players good enough? Well, offensively, they're 10th right now in offensive rating, and they're pretty electric when Kyrie's healthy. With Luka and Kyrie, it reminds me a lot of having LeBron and Kyrie together. But they don't have a third star in Kevin Love, and I don't think that their role players are good enough to make up for a third star right now. So I think though that pairing can go really far, has the potential to win a championship. I just think if you're not getting a third star, you need better role players next season. I think Gafford and PJ are a start to that going off the bench, but Derrick Jones Jr., I think he's had a very solid season, really good defender, super athlete, attacking closeouts, shot the ball from three better this year than I think, but he might need to be a bench player on a championship team. And that's fine. I don't know if he's a starter. And then,
man, I wish they had Dodo still. Man, if they still had
Dorian Finney-Smith, he would be huge.
Yeah.
It really would. So I'm interested to see it. That's not a team you want to see in the playoffs at all, but I agree with your assessment of Luka. He needs to find a way in the playoffs to get Kyrie Irving his shots, to get Tim Hardaway his shots, not just everybody feeding off of his plate. You can't I don't think that pick and roll ball is going to win a championship like over and over. Only LeBron's done it, and he might be that 1% like LeBron, but as I said, he doesn't defend like LeBron won. Like this team is bottom 10 in the league in defensive rating. So that's tough.
Yeah.
I think having
That's
Gafford,
tough to overcome.
Right.
Tough to overcome, especially in the playoffs.
And we'll see how Luka and Kyrie defend in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting. I think it all depends on who they get. I think they're a little bit away from winning a championship. But I definitely think Luka can easily be a number one. I wouldn't say easily, but I have full faith that he could be a number one in a championship team. But there are steps. Just like if Kid wants to align him to those guys, and he mentions him in conversations, well, those guys had to learn a couple things. So I think that's this time for Luka. And now he doesn't have the no help excuse. Maybe he doesn't have enough help to win a championship, but he's got a second star, and Kyrie Irving is very much that. So I'm interested to see it. Any last words on the Mavs, gentlemen, before we go to the last team?
I just think also the same way Giannis is overlooked, his offense to me is overlooked this season, so is Kyrie Irving. As great as he is offensively, he's playing differently. He's shooting a lot more shots underneath 17 feet, and that's very intentional, especially compared to last season. I think 50% of his shots came above 17 feet, something like that. Like for Kyrie to be that intentional like that, I think is very scary. Him and Luka just play this, they figured, I think they may have watched the Brunson tape also with him and Brunson there. I don't know how much better he got from Brunson in that team. I just find it, like you said, that LeBron Kyrie matchup all over again in Cleveland. The one major factor has to be when you compare anyone to LeBron James. No, he's not a one-on-one defensive stopper like that, but he covers that much ground. He's that dominant of a presence. That's what they would be missing. But offensively, Luka got to stop shooting them damn threes, and they're just I see them being. I'm trying to stop myself from saying they're coming out of the West. But to me, they're that dangerous because offensively, they're that much of a threat, but defensively, they were lacking. And now this Gafford thing, no, he's not Mutombo and the second coming of whatever the hell you said, Don.
Oh, he heard that, Don.
but you need stops. Like the Nuggets were ranked what in defense last season?
Let me look it up.
I want to say 17th in the regular season. In the playoffs, they were like number 2. They were the number 2 defensive team in the playoffs last season, if I'm not mistaken. But the regular season, they were okay. And Dallas 15th, has a chance.
15th. Bang, middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack.
Yeah.
and I'm also disgusted we didn't get Gafford, Dom. It could be I'm biased to that as well. I could be biased to that, man.
Well,
Hold on.
yeah.
Fabian just riding around with a 4K camera.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Kyrie Irving has also, from all the games I've watched, been playing much better defense this year. Just like a lot of effort defensively, from what I've seen this season. And I haven't watched a full Mavs game in a little bit, but I have to give him props for that. Luka, just to finish off on him, he's shooting 23.5 shots a night. It's a little surprising. His team's not that bad, but we'll see. Maybe, I'll keep watching. In the playoffs, I'll watch everything. So we'll see all the flaws in the playoffs. But let's finish off with the last team. We had a lot of, by the way, should we pull up the what everybody said about the Mavs? Because
you got this is Flea's moment to shine right now.
I had them 9th, and right now they're 8th. Are they 7th? No, they're 7th. I had them 9th. They're 7th right now. Flea had them 10th. AllBall had them 8th, which is pretty close. And then Fabian had them 14th. No faith in Luka at all.
Go Faye.
Any word?
Listen, I thought they were depleted offensively. I thought to rely on to have your defense anchored on a rookie like that was going to be a big mistake, which they were. Like it was that, but the Kyrie Luka thing is big time. It got him in the middle of the pack initially, but they just don't have enough. They were on the same field as like Sacramento. Shout out to Scott Reichel. He said like the fun teams like Sacramento Kings, the Indiana Pacers, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Mavericks were in that same group where, okay, that's fun. But what, like when it's playoff time, what is that? That doesn't matter. And now you change things with someone who can cause turnovers like that. They can end defensive possessions immediately with rebounding and block shots with Gafford. And that alley-oop. Luka was throwing alley-oops from half court, bro. He looks like he's about to unlock in the playoffs. That's my feeling on this. So that Gafford deal is really haunting for me, man. I'm telling you.